This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time.
He's
Off
got
the
him.
left side. Dobbs is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ken and Ken in the Morning. One Ken has working internet, the other one does not, so he may be in and out today. How you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing great.
That's fucking awesome. And not only that, you might as well share the good news with everybody.
Today is my last day on Ken and Ken in the Morning. Y'all won't be hearing my bad takes from now on.
Well, it's for a good reason, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to being a civilian working 9 to 5.
Civilian, like we're paramilitary contractors over here. Oh, well, we're starting to get drip fed more and more of the schedule. It is.
Yeah. It looks like the Vikings are playing the Lions week 1. JJ McCarthy returns to Michigan.
Oh, nice. Did you see that they released the international games too?
Yeah, they fucked us over good.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly why I brought it up. Now, what's your thoughts on the Vikings having to play 2 back-to-back international games?
It's fucking stupid as hell because last year we had to play international too.
Yeah. I absolutely hate the international games. That's why I am fucking glad Green Bay didn't get hit with one of them. And, you know, it sucks for you that you're there, but I'm happy my rival has 2 international games.
Yeah, so we'll be in Europe for 2 weeks.
Oh, it's up there, broski.
What's up, Ken? What's up, Sarah?
Hi, Brookie.
Much. Just going through a bit of the leaked schedule that the NFL's drip fed so far.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't checked today to see what else has come out. I saw they announced like the home teams for the international games, but I guess what you're saying is they actually released all the international games?
Yeah, it'll be Minnesota versus the Steelers week 4. It will be Minnesota versus the Cleveland Browns week 5. Then you'll have the Denver Broncos versus the Jets week 6. The Rams versus the Jags week 7. Falcons versus Indy week 10. Washington versus Miami week 11. So the international games have been fully dropped now.
So when you have back-to-back international games, do you even fly back to the States and then go back out, or do you just stay overseas?
Yeah, they just stay overseas.
Damn, that sucks.
I don't even know why we're playing in Ireland. Like, why
do the Raiders have an international game?
No.
Yeah.
What's up there, JB?
Not much. How is everybody doing today?
Oh, pretty good. Now that
How you doing, JB?
The schedule.
Man, fucking tastic.
Did you guys see this meme? It was hilarious. If Adam Silver ran the NFL, Mahomes would be a Cowboys, Jefferson would be a Cowboys.
So,
Hey,
Sarah,
what's
is that
what's
is
the
that
openers?
that leak true about Week 1? Are the Vikings playing the Lions?
That's the rumor.
It's not it's
Okay.
a leak, but it came from one of those ones where you just don't know if it's real or not.
I mean,
Yeah, what is the openers?
for what we
The
talked about,
Thursday opener is Philly and Dallas.
for what we
Which is
talked.
dumb as hell because my
Yeah,
point
you got to
still
turn your mic way up, Ken. We
Oh
can
yeah,
barely-
I'm about to.
my
what we
point still
talked about
stands. Why is
yesterday-
the 7 and 12 team opening up
I
the
guess I
NFL
can just not
season?
be on my own show. I was gonna say for what we talked about yesterday, that would make sense. With the leaks, they already know for week 1 being divisional, it would make sense to be a Lions Vikings game.
Either
So,
Lions
I think-
Vikings or Lions Bears. One of the two. That's been my prediction the whole time for the first week 1. As soon as
Yeah,
I saw
I mean-
that Dallas and Philly were playing.
Yeah, it makes
Well, if it's going to be Lions and Vikings, then I'm assuming it's going to be Bears and Packers for week 1.
Hey, I'm all for that. I love opening the year against the Bears. And we have them week 16 too.
Last show for who?
So
Sarah.
fudge to begin the season and
Uh,
fudge to end the season.
Yeah.
Sarah, does that mean you got the job?
Yeah, I start tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now I can finally make bets with you fuckers.
So are you going to get in on Eric's bet of the Giants having a better record than the
I
Detroit
can't
Lions?
because then it would be hypocritical of me to encourage him to bet that bet and then bet against him. I have principles, you know.
Oh, look at that. You even got love from Motown Mitch here, Sarah.
Hey, so
Oh, you bitch. You're making
Who are
me
the Raiders-
blush. We
who are
don't
the
even
Raiders
like
opening
each
up against?
other.
What were you
I
saying?
didn't see the schedule drop. Who do the Raiders open up against?
The full schedule hasn't dropped yet. They're just drip feeding games here and there.
I'm guessing it's going to be Denver if they're doing all divisional games because the Chargers are playing the Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was going to say that makes a lot of sense. And then they leaked Week 10 Monday Night Football is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers. We finally get our
do the Raiders
rematch.
have a Monday night game?
All it has given us is Week 10 so far for the Monday night.
Did
I'm
you
just
see that,
messing
Sarah?
with you, Mitch.
Yep, but
You-
he's being a good guy.
I'm just messing with you, Mitch. You conflict me because we disagree on golf, yet we agree on McCarthy. It makes me feel weird.
And you know what, Orlando? Everybody said that there was no way there'd be 3 teams from the North in the playoffs last year. Yeah, I remember that first week before the season started, during the dead week, during the cuts and everything else, and I heard everybody on this show, only 2 teams are going to make it.
Not everybody. I was going to
know.
say, I said
You
I
and
would
I,
not
Brad.
be- I was going to say, I
You
said
and
I
I-
wouldn't be surprised if we had 3.
Right, and I backed you up on that. Matter of fact, I remember the Wednesday before that week, we both said there was a slim chance that if the Bears were better,
We
That
could
we
have
could
said
have
all
more.
of them. Yep.
and I sat there, I said, but they're in the dead duck phase of, Timu Joe's back. Just got to wait for his camera to come. There it is. Timu Joe!
What's going on with Ken's camera or with Ken's
He's
thing?
got internet issues going on today.
The internet got tired of his bad takes and just took his internet out.
Dang.
Verizon got tired of giving him good service, and they said, here, you get Cricket.
No, you get American Online. He's still trying to dial up.
Hey, those free CDs add up.
Got Mint Mobile.
You know what's funny is if you got some of the first 2 gens of those CDs unopened, they're actually worth money.
I really wish I would have known that would have been a fucking thing, because I had so fucking many of them as a kid. Because we already had freaking AOL, so we just get sent those things, and they just collect dust.
And I said, and the only question mark we got right now in the division at quarterback really is how good JJ will be. And I'm not saying he's gonna be bad, and I'm not saying he's gonna be good, because we just don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
defensively-
personally think with him winning that starting job in training camp, he's going to be all right there for them. And with KOC as the head coach after what he did with Darnold, but you never know coming back from an injury.
I'm not saying we're not going to have
Hey,
lumps,
look
but
at that.
I'm not saying we're not going to have lumps, but I think
There it goes.
I don't think we're going to be as bad as people think.
Right. I don't think you'll be bad either, because you've got a good defense. That's the key. We saw that. And it's more about stopping people from scoring than yardage. We found that out too.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad to have a bend don't break defense, but don't expect it to come through late in the playoffs, as Green Bay
Okay.
and Lions fans have learned.
And Vikings.
Oh, you guys, I did a funny poll yesterday, and the results were wild. So I asked, what is more toxic, politics or LeBum fan base? And the most votes was LeBum's fan base.
Hey,
You're
don't
not
say-
wrong.
I was gonna say, don't say that too loud. Nick will hear you. Oh,
I was help keeping the comments up on the screen for you, Ken, when you left.
No, it's MediaCom. Two of my Euros devices have taken today. So my MediaCom. I hate these internet companies, man.
That's
Yeah.
why you need to get off American Online.
AOL was more stable.
I feel that. I got fucking Spectrum over here, and this shit's garbage.
I mean, seriously, like AOL and Net Zero. Remember Net Zero?
Oh my god.
Net Zero was actually really good when it first came out. And then they did that update about 6 months in, and it went to shit right after.
Oh, dude, that's like when Time Warner Cable first released Roadrunner. That shit was absolutely awesome, and somehow it's gone downhill.
Do you guys remember Netscape, that web browser?
I love Netscape. That was a great web browser too.
Mayweather the boxer gets all the respect in the world. Mayweather the piece of shit person gets none.
You remember
Yo.
trying to download music from LimeWire? It's like
Well,
only 3 more days and I get this CD.
I remember.
Oh, it's a virus.
Shit, you mean turning your freaking computer into an E IED?
Yeah.
or a 50-pound brick on your desk.
What? It was a surprise. Are you going to completely cook the family computer, or is it going to be a new building block?
Yeah. Or are you going to get the CD?
Oh, I
Or
always got the
sometimes-
CD.
Sometimes you get the mystery box. Or sometimes you get the mystery box where you get the CD and the virus.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got the mystery box a lot.
The first run of Blizzard Diablo on PC, because it wasn't on anything else. The first 500,000 discs had a virus.
Man.
The good old days.
Yeah,
I loved Napster.
Napster was great.
See,
Yeah.
I never used Napster. I was a LimeWire kid.
Oh, you weren't born yet. That's why. Napster.
I was most certainly born. I just like LimeWire better than Napster.
You gotta play the music. Everybody gets to dance. Ricky's in the chat.
What kind of Rick Astley, Kenny G shit is that?
That's what's on the soundboard.
I'm just kidding, dude.
Oh, but it looks really good with my pictures I use on my channel, doesn't it, Ken?
Is that your new intro song?
No, I use it as my Caleb Williams with the corn cob. I use it as my Caleb Williams with them eating a corn cob. As
So
that music.
No, that's
Week
JB
one-
watching the Lions play a game on Sunday. He mutes his TV and just plays that song the whole time.
Yeah, that too.
Week 1 tickets right now, Dallas, Philly. If you go to ESPN, look at the schedule, and they'll say you want to buy tickets to give you a link. As low as $393 a ticket.
For the
For the
nosebleed.
low price of $400 a ticket.
Talk about bleeding the fans dry. Holy shit.
What's
Right.
this for?
For
Philly.
the Philly
Dallas
and
and
Dallas opening game.
I mean, I guess, fanatics must be running the ticket counters now.
Man, anybody that would pay $393 to sit in the nosebleeds to watch the Dallas Cowboys,
Get their ass whooped.
man.
Deserve to get their money ripped
No,
off.
no, I'm saying just to watch the Dallas Cowboys. Like,
Hey, you know who is going to be up there? It's going to be the Philly fans because the Dallas fans don't want to pay that much to watch their team lose.
$393 for the nosebleeds. See, that's why I miss the Oakland Coliseum, because even the nosebleeds, you could get them on Monday Night Football for like $60, dude.
But I mean, think about it. For one ticket, we'll just call it after fees and everything, it's over $400 for the ticket, right? So for two people to go, just the tickets, you're talking almost $900 just for two tickets. Then you've got $100, $50 to $100 in parking or transportation costs. Then you've got food,
Beer.
right? Something to drink, something to eat. I mean, dude, you're talking it's a $1,500 or $2,000 day. You know what? That's $1,500. Well, geez, I'm gonna get my hot tub repaired. I'm gonna have a brand new hot tub in the back. I'm putting.
I was going to say, shit, you could buy a top of the line TV and you can watch the sweat come out of their pores.
You could get an 85-inch TV for $650, 4K.
Okay.
That's hotel
There we
and
go.
airfare for me and my wife to go to Maui.
Good morning, Eric.
What's up there, buddy?
Ticket prices
Oh.
are getting ridiculous. We went
Yeah.
to a game we went to the game, obviously, you guys know, in DC last year. My wife got a deal on a ticket. She got lucky. We paid $175 per. Now we were in the end zone, 8 rows up. Okay, that was worth it, right? That was good.
How much was it?
$175 per ticket. So we'll call it what? $350 for 2 tickets, 8 rows up in the end zone.
Oh, that's
Not
not bad.
No, that was actually really good. But
Right.
we'll be in Chicago for week 3. So if it's a home game, I almost don't even want to know how much those tickets are going to cost us if we go.
I'm still thrown off that you guys are saying the game's in Dallas, not in Philly.
No, it's in Philly.
Okay.
It's in Philly. Tickets are as low as $393.
And like
Damn,
I said,
that plane was loud.
you're not going to see very many Dallas fans in the nosebleed.
Yeah. I was going to say that's an awful lot of money to pay to be stabbed in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Oh, it's in Philadelphia?
Not only are you going to get stabbed, but your team's going to get rolled too. It's like you might be able to take the stabbing if you're leaving with a win, but like
Wait, I just thought about something. Didn't everybody say the Browns were going to whoop the Dallas Cowboys last year, and they smoked the shit out of them on the road? Remember that?
I think vaguely.
So
Who smoked
they,
who?
they only win on the road. Remember, they won 1 game at home out of 9. Watch them upset Philly.
No, Dallas doesn't win in Philly, and Philly has a hard time in Dallas for the most part. But
I'm saying it's
yeah,
week 1. It's week 1. They might come
We'll
out
see.
firing. Who knows?
I expect
It'd
to
be funny.
see some bloody Cowboys fans after they get curb stomped laying around the Lincoln Financial Field.
Come on. It's going to be week 1. So Dak's got to show everybody why he's the freaking $60 million man.
Right.
Well, thank you, USA Today. So according to USA Today, we have some more leaks. According to USA Today, here's what we know of the schedule so far. Week 1, Philly at Dallas. We know that one. Week 4, Pittsburgh at Minnesota in Dublin, Ireland. Pittsburgh versus Minnesota in Dublin, Ireland. Week 5, Cleveland versus Minnesota in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. Week 6, Jets Broncos in London. Week 7, Jags versus Rams in London. Week 10, Colts and Falcons in Germany. And then, week 10, Packers and Eagles on Monday Night Football. Week 11, Dolphins and Commanders in Spain. Week 13, Philly versus Chicago on Prime Video. So that must be Thursday Night Football.
Thursday night game. Yep.
Yep. Week 16, Commanders and Eagles. Week 16, Bears Packers.
That's today, probably.
And week 17, Chiefs Broncos on Prime Video. Those are the leaks that we have right now. Now, whether those are good leaks or not, I don't know.
No, they are, because when your internet was messing up there, I already went through that list there, and it from the actual NFL themselves.
So here's the interesting thing. Minnesota is going to have back-to-back right there in Dublin week 4, and in week 5 they're in London.
I swear, they're making us play in Ireland because half our team is Irish.
So you're not Vikings, huh? You're Irishmen?
Probably Chicago. That's what I'm guessing for
Week 1. Yeah.
But there is one more leak that came out, and it was right at the announcement that the Lions were playing in the Hall of Fame game. They decided that the last Sunday night football game will be Philly at Detroit.
I was going to say that wouldn't be a bad one.
That's going to be the last game of the season. Because they don't do Monday night on week 8.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm not against that, because everybody will be geared up, ready for their playoff push, and then you'll get a little kind of bit of the insight there of if Detroit would have held their own against the Eagles.
Right.
Eric, your Giants are playing at noon. No one cares.
You guys it's going to be foreskin versus Giants. If they're doing Dallas versus Philly week 1, it's more than likely going to be Giants versus foreskin.
I did say, right, it's going to be Chargers, Chiefs, and Brazil, which is what we predicted yesterday as one of the options. So, yeah, that's.
I mean, Giants are going to start off with the loss. Sorry, Eric. Your bet is not looking good.
Does Eric go by the nickname E-Fizz? Is that what it says in his name? E-Fizz?
Yeah. I wonder what E-Fizz is online. E-Fizz is online.
Hey, come on, you can make that money somehow.
E-Fizzled?
Nobody calls me a fizzle and gets away with it, except for that one guy that called me a fizzle and ran. You know, after today, only half the people that have called me a fizzle have gotten away with it.
Yeah, and 3 of them were women.
Oh, yeah, and then Bears and Commanders Christmas.
Yep.
What a way to ruin your guys' Christmas.
Maybe the Bears get their get back. Maybe the Pope says a prayer and they get a Hail Mary at the end, you know?
After his first year starting, and having a great year, C.J. Stroud sure as hell fell the fuck off. Now, I know it was mostly due to his O-line couldn't stop a wet paper bag. But at the same time, who says that Washington won't suffer the same thing in a slight sophomore slump?
Well,
I heard a rumor that Brock Purdy's contract will be announced this week.
Who?
Brock Purdy,
because he's still looking for an extension. By the way, the Bears November 28th game, it's not a Thursday Night Football. That's the Black Friday game.
Oh, yeah.
I just looked it up. November 28th is Black Friday. So the Eagles and the Bears on Black Friday on Prime Video. As you're all doing
they're gonna have you guys play your funeral on Friday. That's sad.
Well, you're going to be they're sending you guys off to Europe for 2 weeks because you're that bad. They're like, get out of the country.
But
Yeah, but
anyway,
we're not playing
They're
on
like-
Death Friday.
They're like, go hang out with Jacksonville in Europe. We don't need you here in the lower 48.
but at the same time, we all know what two of the games are. They just have to decide what the AFC one is and what time they're on, because it's going to be Lions, it's going to be Dallas, and then whatever AFC team is home for Thanksgiving.
I was going to say the Vikings Steelers game's interesting because it's going to be two teams with really good defenses and first year quarterbacks.
Now, that depends. What if Mason Rudolph actually looks like he did his first year with?
Yeah, I don't think Mason Rudolph has much left in the tank at this point. I
I don't
think
think you can
Mason Rudolph needs to move on with his life's work after this season. But yeah, he'll be around to coach Will Howard and be his buddy.
If Mason Rudolph makes us the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would love to be a fly on the wall for the game against the Cleveland Browns because I want to see if Rudolph has PTSD.
I would also love
Yeah.
to play the Steelers week 1 if that was the case. Either way, it's not it's a good time to play him.
I want to address that where he says system QB. Technically, every QB that plays for a team for more than 1 year is a system QB.
Yep.
The name you're looking for is a game manager. That's what he is.
Well,
Yeah,
people act like being a game manager is like something negative.
I know.
Quarterback
You
won
get-
7 Super Bowls being a game manager.
Sarah, it's not. You had a game manager last year who won you 14 games. Being a game
Exactly.
manager
Like people
is
act
not
like
that. Look at Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton was one of the best game managers in the NFL. He never got a ring, but everywhere Kyle Orton went, he was highly successful. Why? He game
Yep.
managed.
Alex Smith, other than his rookie year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
game managers win games. That's why they're managing games.
78% of every Super Bowl winner was won by a game manager.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
the interesting thing with the schedule, it looks like it's shaking out that the first week is going to be divisional, and that the first 2 weeks look like they're going to be divisional, and the last 2 weeks look like they're going to be divisional because the Bears Packers is week 17.
No,
Which means-
it's week 16.
So is Bears Packers week 1 going to be at Lambeau or at Soldier?
Sorry, Bears Packers is week 16, which means the Bears will get either the Lions or the Vikings on week 17.
Wait, is week 16 at Lambeau or is it Soldier?
It doesn't say. It just says
Oh.
Bears Packers. It doesn't
Yeah,
say.
I think
Don't
I
find
heard
that out.
that one's at Lambeau.
Oh, then you guys are opening up at Soldier then.
Yeah, but that's par for course because I think almost every year, as far back as I can remember, game 1 is in Soldier, game 2 is at Lambeau.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As far as I can remember, too, that's how it's been.
And you're right, Eric. He probably wouldn't succeed anywhere else. But at the same time, you got to remember, KOC is the reason why he's great everywhere but the Super Bowl. I still say from now on, if there's a tie for the first pick overall, they need to replace the Pro Bowl with that game between those two teams, and whoever wins gets the second pick.
No, you make the head coaches fight in a cage.
That would work too.
yeah,
Yeah, good luck. Good luck
Hey,
with
wait
that.
a minute,
Ah.
wait a minute, John. You guys almost got not that the Bears were better. Let me caveat that before I say what I'm going to say. Dude, you won one division game last year. You're lucky you did get swept by 2 teams. The only team that didn't sweep you is the Bears, and
No, they got swept by 3
We didn't
teams.
get swept either. So
They
neither
got
of us
swept
have
by
been-
3 teams, Ken.
What?
They got swept by the Eagles. They got swept by the
Oh
Vikings
my God, Sarah, we're talking
and the
about the division.
Lions.
We're
We're
talking about the division.
division here.
I'm
We're
just
talking about-
saying they got swept by 3 teams though.
Yeah, we were talking about the division. In the division, John, you guys got swept by the Lions and the Vikings, and you split with the Bears. Neither of us have room to talk about sweeping anyone this year.
Hey, that's why I said I'd be happy with even 3-3 this year. Because let me tell you, 1-5 is abysmal.
Yeah,
I think it could very possibly be 3-3 for the division in the whole division.
Wouldn't shock me.
it wouldn't shock
Everybody
me.
splits.
Now, Eric, that would be shocking right there. That would be shocking. Look at the amount of like I talked about this yesterday about expectations, right? With the amount of talent on this roster, the amount of money they put in the offensive line, the amount of movement and fanfare, the coaching hires and everything. If this team wins only 5 games or less, the city of Chicago will literally burn to the ground, even with the Pope sitting there trying to bless them the victory.
I'm not.
They're going to burn down the stadium they haven't built yet.
Until the first game is played, you can say that this year. But anyways, my thing is, I said looking at that roster, looking at the coaching staff and everything else, and they got a 4th place schedule. If the Bears get less than 7 games, well, 1, it's an utter failure.
And look at that
assessment.
But is it really though? Because they increased their wins.
So last year, John, we were talent-wise, obviously not enough on the line and not enough in the coaching department. But there is a big difference with last year's team and this year's team, and that's this right here.
You know, all this sacrilege that you keep putting up is going to be the reason why the Bears go 0-17.
Man.
I'm joking with that. I'm joking.
I know, and I'm only like 60% serious with what I said.
But look, if you look at this, at the Bears, if you look at this entire division, I'm sorry, anything less than 8 to 9 wins for any of these teams in this division will probably be looked at as a failure by the majority of the fan base. Right? If the Packers don't win 8 to 9 games, the majority of Packer fans are going to be up in arms. If the Bears don't win,
I want double digits this year. Anything besides double digits, I think.
But I'm saying as a minimum, 8 to 9 wins for every team in this division, or the fan bases for each of those individual teams will be up in arms. It's not even close. That's just where the fan bases are at right now. And you look at the amount of resources in all 4 teams that they have, the talent that all 4 teams have, the supposed talent in coaching all 4 teams have. 8 games is the bare minimum for any one of these teams, or those fan bases are going to be burning cities down.
And I said more than likely, if you remember right, when we talked about it before we even started doing division winners or anything like that, and I said, I'm not putting an order on it right now prior to the schedule release, but I said at the lowest, the bottom team will have 9 wins and the top team will have 12.
I have a little more range with mine. I think 7 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Look, with us playing the AFC North, right, and then who's our other NFC? We got the NFC East.
Yep.
It's not an easy schedule, but at the same time, 8 games is definitely achievable for every one of these teams in the division.
Finally, Dallas comes back to Detroit. We've had 5 years in a row of being in Dallas.
Man, I think that just made JB's week.
God damn it. I was so happy when I saw that.
I mean, we all know we're going to get a win against the Cowboys, so that's good. Right.
Yeah, we're playing the Cowboys in Dallas. It's an automatic win for us.
Yeah. We all got the Cowboys.
You guys haven't lost a game in Dallas since, what was it, 2000?
We are undefeated in their new stadium.
Right, but since 2001, exactly what I was saying. It goes back. It goes back a long time since you lost in Dallas. What I'm saying.
We should all beat the Giants. Sorry, Eric. But we should all beat the Giants. That's another win. Yeah. If you look at the AFC South or the AFC North, we should all beat Cleveland, even with that defense, because they have no offense.
Yeah, the other 3 will be a crapshoot. The other 3 will be a crapshoot. If Joe Burrow's O-line protects them, it'll be tough to beat the Bengals.
Yep.
But they don't have a defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they're going to have a defense either, because they ain't paying anybody under defense.
Right.
Their rookies are refusing to play because of contract. Trey Hendrickson is not happy because of contract. I'm telling you, we're going to see Jamar and Higgins play cornerback.
Oh my God. Well, we've seen some precedents of like Charles Woodson playing some receiver. All right, Chase, get out there and earn your fucking money.
Right.
Go earn your $40 million. You're playing defense.
I mean, look at this division has talent. This division has talent. Of course, unfortunately, this division had talent last year, and the Bears win 5 games, and the 3 teams we send to the playoffs all were one and done. Not good. So the division needs to improve upon its performance as a division over last year. And 14-win record, 15-win record doesn't mean jack when you go one and done in the playoffs. I would much rather have teams in division win. A division winner win 10 games, send 2 or 3 teams to the playoffs who all win 10 games, and they win playoff games than what we saw last year. What we saw last year made the North look worse, not better.
I saw a hot take that the Raiders could win the AFC West.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's definitely a hot take.
Yeah, I'd say
That's spicy
you
meatball.
might want to take that needle out of your vein.
Yeah, you can see. I could see the Raiders being in the mix and being more of a spoiler than. I don't think they're where the Chargers or the Broncos are at right now, or KC. But that's not to say that the Raiders aren't good or ascending. But I don't think.
Well, I think
they
the
could finish better than
AFC
the
West is
Broncos,
kind of like
but I
a
don't think they're
replica
going
of
to
the
finish.
NFC North, where all the teams are going to be very competitive.
Yeah, but I don't think I
Maybe.
think the Raiders could finish better than the Broncos, but I don't think they're going to finish better than the Chargers or the Chiefs. Who knows, man? The Chiefs
Did
are still the
anybody
Chiefs.
send Woody the link?
Yeah, I'm in the process of it now.
Jay, 15-2 division champs might mean something to you. That's great, but does it put a Lombardi in the trophy case? No.
No.
I mean, look, it's great that the regular season records for the North last year, saying 3 teams in the playoffs, look great. And then we got to the playoffs, and all 3 teams laid a giant freaking goose egg. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't make the division look good at all that all 3 teams are one and done with the records they had last year. It's either our records are overinflated,
It
and the
was.
teams weren't as good as their records. I mean, it's just I'd rather send 3 teams to the playoff where they're all winning 10, 11 games and they actually win playoff games.
Watch, the NFC West
Okay.
is going to have
It's not-
overinflated records this season too, with the schedule they're playing.
Yeah.
I'll push back because I remember getting flack for saying that the Lions would win the division again, and I was very confident about it. And I said, you guys all started off with that. You guys haven't had back-to-back 10-win seasons in your entire history. And that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it at that.
I mean, look at
I'm
last year.
still going to give you flack.
It's still your division to lose, right? Still your division to lose. Last year they put together another good run. Ben Johnson said, "Hey, after the NFC Championship loss, I want to run it back for another year, give this team another shot." And my God, they went on a nice friggin' run. Unfortunately, they got to the playoffs and lost to Washington at home badly.
Okay,
Hey,
so
Eric.
out of all the
Woody.
teams that finished last in their division, who has the best chance to go to first in their division?
In their division, the best chance.
Yeah, for all the teams that finished last, who has the best chance of making that jump to first?
In the weakest division it is. It's the AFC South. It's the Jags.
No, the Titans
I'm
finished
not-
last though.
Oh, wait, no, they didn't. That was the Titans. I don't see them doing it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No.
They were third place team. Packers weren't last in their division, Jason.
Nope.
I'm not even that
Nope.
bad.
I think the Niners have a shot. The Niners have a shot to go worst to first.
All right,
Yeah,
last
I
year's
think that
last place,
is a good one.
the last place teams last year were as followed. In the East, it was the Pats. In the AFC North, it was the Browns. AFC South, Tennessee. AFC West, Vegas. In the NFC, the last place teams were the Giants, the Bears, the Saints, and the Niners.
Yes,
The
the
Niners.
Niners.
Yeah.
Niners.
Yeah.
I'd say the Niners in the West. They still got to get past the Rams. They got to win both of those games. If they lose one of them, that might be the tiebreaker at the end of the season. Because when they're healthy, they're a good team. They weren't healthy last year at all, and you can see the difference. They also changed.
Hey, I just wanted to address something because Eric is decided to wake up this morning and take a giant shit on my franchise. He said the Raiders are a poverty franchise. I just want to point out they have 3 trophies in the case. They're the only team that's been to a Super Bowl in 4 different decades. To call them a poverty, like I get that we've had a rough 25 years, but to call them a poverty franchise, I think is ridiculous.
Okay, you got to remember that
Fizz.
Eric is 25 years old, so his entire life they've sucked.
You gotta remember, Eric wasn't even alive 25 years ago.
God damn it. I'm trying to help.
Eric,
A
eat
poverty
Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, that's another one. The Patriots would be a good dark
Actually-
horse in that too.
I'm gonna go a different route. This one's gonna be a little. I mean, hear me for a minute. Tennessee, Houston was 10-7 last year. Indy
Holy
was
shit.
second in line. Jacksonville was 4-13. Tennessee was 3-14. However, remember for the first half of the season, they had the number 1 rated defense in the NFL for the first half. Their problem was Will Levis. If they can fix their quarterback issue and get good quarterback play, Tennessee could actually be a pretty dangerous team.
Maybe, but I still don't think they're getting past Houston.
Houston was good, but they weren't great. So it depends what Houston we get this year. You can look at Houston like the Bears were 18, 19, and 20. You can really look at it that way. It's very similar, right? Great rookie coach here with a young quarterback. The second year, a little bit of a fall off, but they still make the playoffs. I mean, I wouldn't set them as the gold standard. This is like their third season, right? With Stroud and with the coach. They're going to flourish or they're going to start looking for replacements. Tennessee had a really good defense last year. Their problem was on the quarterback position. If they fix the quarterback position, they could go worse the first.
That's crazy to me, Eric.
Let's flip this. Do we see any teams that won their divisions last year going to last place this year?
Last year division, I'll go over the division winners really quick so we can, AFC, the division winners were the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans, the Chiefs. And the NFC was Philly, Detroit, Tampa, and the Rams.
I would say the Houston has
Phil.
probably the highest chance of going to last out of all of those.
In the
Philly.
AFC,
Go ahead.
Yeah, because you don't see any of those teams going to be going from first to last, but then Houston has probably the highest possibility, I would say.
Philly.
You think Philly's can go from first to last?
this is Woody. Of course he does.
Oh, okay.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the Texans have the best chance of going from first to last.
Actually, you know what? Let's just stay within the division. The Lions, not because they're going to be a bad team, but because of the way the division plays out. Look, they could win 9 games and be in last place. I mean, that's not off the board in the NFC North. What we're talking about as far as these teams all being really good, the Lions, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's a possibility. It doesn't have to be that you're a bad team. The Lions could still be a good team and end up in last place in the NFC North. I'm not trying to knock the Lions. I'm just saying
That's the most that Bears will win this year.
With coaching changes and everything else, they could win 8 or 9 games, still have a good season, and end up in last place.
Damn, I just realized we're the only team in the division playing international. Damn, that sucks.
2 weeks in a row.
Get that Minnesota stink out of here. That's what they said. Go play with the Jags in Europe.
We're not playing against the Jags.
Yeah, I was going to say the Jags don't even have 2 games over there this year.
Yeah, the Jags normally spend 2 weeks over there, so that's what we're trying to say. Is like go over to Europe like the Jags and don't come back.
Wait, does that mean the Minnesota Vikings are the new Jacksonville Jaguars?
Maybe. Mick,
Well,
I don't know
neither
where
of
the
them
hell
has a trophy in the case, so.
I don't know where Mitch comes up with this stuff, but I swear he just like randomly pulls stuff out of the air. All right,
But Jared Goff is the 3rd best in the division.
How is he the third
What
best?
did Mitch say?
Yeah, there you go, Jay. Thank you. That's the thing about the last to first first to worst, worst to first. Like, who would have thought, right? The Brown, this right here, they go 1-15 and then win the division the next year.
You know what's funny is 9 times out of 10, the rookie QBs that have a sophomore slump are about 90% of them. Only 10% have ever had really successful second years. So that's a great point.
I think they're all going to slump. Like, I think Caleb's going to have some slump issues. Yesterday, I think Jaden's going to have a drop off. Kenneth will have probably a drop off. Nick's, I think all of them will have some type of sophomore slump. Now, how deep that slump rides is what's going to be debatable.
The two that have the least amount of chance to have a drop off is Daniels and Nick, because they didn't have a lot of coaching change.
That's usually not the reason, though, why these guys slump, though.
I know, but I'm just saying that the changing of an offensive game scheme with a rookie going into their sophomore year has a lot more to do about slumping than anything else, because it's a change. Look, even the offensive coordinator, as good as he was in Texans, he had a new quarterbacks coach at Houston, and you saw a difference in how C.J. Stroud played. It wasn't a big drop-off, but it was a drop-off.
Real quick, Jonathan, that's not true. The Jags have been doing it for years. They usually play 2 games.
No, we're the first team to play overseas in 2 different countries. That's what he means.
That would be true. That would be true.
Right. A-Dub's exactly right. They had 3 injuries, 3 key injuries to starting O-linemen.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the Texans because they signed our bad O-lineman to block for C.J. Stroud. So I don't know how that's going to go.
That means, Sarah, now that he left Minnesota, he's going to be good.
No.
Would he, when they leave the division and become good elsewhere?
Our O-lineman sacked Kirk Cousins, okay? That's how bad he was.
Oh, here we go.
It was Kirk Cousins. Of course he sacked.
Oh, he stepped on his foot. And he fell.
Well, don't forget, tomorrow night we get the schedule release live on the House Hall Report, and we'll probably get it released today. The schedule, it's funny. I like that they're going. So from what we can tell right now, the one thing I do like is that we're going division early, division late, instead of all the division in the back end, because I hated that last year. The last 6 to 8 weeks was nothing but division games, which was somewhat exciting, but also just like, oh no, please spread them out a little bit more. Like having the first 8 weeks be completely out of the division sucked.
No, that's not true, because week 7 we played the Vikings.
Jeremy, for the most part, yeah, I mean, dude, for the last 8 weeks, 6 of the 8 final games for the Bears were all in the division. And I know the Vikings and the Lions, you guys had one early, and the Packers had one early. But for most of the league, the last 8 weeks was like 5 to 6 of their games were all in division, and it was just like, oh no, please.
Because you felt the burn that we felt that first time that we went 3-12 right after Barry Sanders retired, where you started out 3-1, and then all of a sudden the spiral started, and you're like, how the hell are we going to lose the next one? I remember it every weekend.
No, we just found new and interesting ways to lose last year. That was our mantra. Finding new and interesting ways to lose games was what Chicago did, and they excelled at it last year. And then came out the final week of the season and pulled out a victory, and hopefully that bodes well for the upcoming season for them to improve. But apparently,
Eberflus come back to Chicago and pull out a magical time out.
Well, Eberflus coming back to Chicago as a defensive coordinator, his defense was really good. He does. Don't be surprised if Dallas has a good defense, because Eberflus's defense is good. It may take him a few, half the season or so to kind of catch on to it, but Eberflus's defense is good, so I would not be surprised if Dallas has a good defense this year.
I was going to say, Dallas really isn't a bad team on paper.
No,
both sides of the ball.
Great every year. Just like every team looks good on paper in the preseason.
Who's not going to?
I'm just saying in particular, like they're really not that bad. I mean, they could definitely be like a 8 or 9 win team and then be a solid team.
season is going to depend on how healthy Dak can stay. He
You
hasn't
see
really
that
been
one.
healthy the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, they got bigger worries than that, I think.
It's not just because of Dak.
Because even if Dak's healthy, I mean, there's still it's Dak. You know, he's
The
going to
one
have
But he
some
can
Dak
win
news.
during the regular season, so
The
he
one
can
thing
take
I want to
some
know is, are we going to get stuck hearing, here we go?
I still love Jordan Love at the end of that game taking that last snap. Here we go.
Yeah, what
You
I
know
want
who's
to
not
know
going to have the sophomore slump? Brock Bowers. Bowers is going for 1,500, dude. I'm telling you.
Broccoli Bowers.
Shit.
By the end of this year, everybody will kiss the ring. Everybody will say Bowers is the best tight end in football by the end
That's,
of this year.
that's if he doesn't get suspended for having to break Gino's jaw.
I need a coffee before I go live. It was a pleasure, everybody, and I'll catch you next time. I'll be live in
Thanks
10
for getting
minutes.
on, JB.
Dude, after catching balls for Minshew for a whole year, he's gonna love Gino. Like,
Fuck's this guy doing? What a fucking
So
cunt
is
sucker.
golf the white Dak? Is golf the white Dak or is Dak the black golf? I don't know.
Hey, but you know what? Side note, real quick, we should almost just do a show of Woody driving to work every day.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
thinking the same fucking thing.
Oh, dude, the guy was in a non-turning lane, crossing traffic, take a right turn.
Dude, it's like the
Of
guy
course
who
it
goes like that.
Of course, it was a woman driver.
Of course.
Oh, you have not been on I-4 in Orlando lately. This is why an I-4, if you ride a motorcycle, you're on I-4 in Orlando, going from Orlando to Tampa, you hang out in the left lane because that exit for Disney, all the tourists miss it, and they're always in that left lane, and they cut across 3 lanes of traffic to hit that exit to get off for Disney. I've seen more accidents to the tourists, going to miss that Disney exit, and they just slam the minivan full of kids over. Who's over there? That's why motorcycles hang out in the left lane in Orlando.
Either that or golf carts.
Yeah. Oh, we love our golf carts down here. Jeez. Eric,
Sarah, you're noisy.
Fucking son.
Sorry,
See,
I'm
that's
trying
what
to
I'm
find
saying,
my
like-
citation so I can call the court after.
Eric woke up this morning and hated the Raiders for some reason, and that's fine. But just remember, Jordan Love is 0-1 against the Raiders, and he threw 3 picks. So
Fizzle.
Just remember that Max Crosby also got stiff armed by the same guy that threw 3 picks.
well, that's fine, but he won the game. I'll take a stiff arm to win the game, you know. And I'm pretty sure Max had a couple sacks in that game too.
I bet he did have a couple sacks in that game.
I want to see the Vikings shows this weekend. I want to see how much crime they're going to do because they're playing back-to-back games in Europe.
Why? Because they got to wake up early.
Because they're playing in Dublin, and Dublin to London's like an hour plane ride, if that. I can't wait to see the amount of cry we're going to get out of the Vikings fans on the weekend shows when they realize, we got to play 2 games in Europe in Dublin and London in back-to-back weeks, and how unfair it is, and how terrible.
No, the Vikings fans are just going to fill up that fucking skull horn, drink all night long, and they're going to be raging for the fucking game.
See, Mitch, this is the difference between me and you. I'm born and raised in Chicago, and the Army moved me all around the world, and I ended up landing in Florida where I paid no state income tax. And I'm still a Bears fan. You know why? Because I'm what they call loyal to my team.
Sometimes too loyal.
Isn't Mitch from the backwoods of Kentucky and he's a Lions fan?
Well,
I was going to say, Ken, I don't know if that's called loyal or Stockholm syndrome.
You're a Packers fan, so you want to talk about Stockholm syndrome.
Hey, we win shit occasionally.
The Giants have more.
All right, let's keep Caleb out of it.
Division on division crimes. Keep going.
I'm telling you, Mitch, I don't know. Mitch doesn't get this fan loyalty thing because Detroit has so many bandwagon fans. I've never seen so many Lions fans that I've seen the last 2 years.
No, come on. Don't you know, like Dorn said, they're a 3-year expansion team.
Yeah.
Yo,
No,
when they were
see,
0 when they were 0-16, you didn't hear a fucking word.
Hey, you know
Not
what
a
it is
fucking
actually?
word.
There have always been this many Lions fans. It's just they finally took the bags off their heads, so now you can see their faces.
Yeah, and they still lose at home.
He grew up. What the hell? He doesn't know how to type, but well, dude, I grew up in Chicago, and I went to Bears games in '85. I was winning the home games in '85. So before you open your yap about me, maybe you should learn something. Born and raised. Oh, a Lions fan since '76. Sit down, Junior. I'll let you know when you can come to the adult table. Okay.
He's from 7 Mile in Detroit.
Time out.
I'm gonna call him B Rabbit.
I mean, is that literally what they call like
Definitely
streets
Cheddar
in
Bob.
Detroit? They call them like miles. That's so weird. Like 8 miles, 7 mile. So that's actually the name of a street.
Yep.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that.
8 Mile is a road. It's a long road.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
It's fucking
No,
weird.
the movie is 8 Mile, not 7 miles. So that's what, and it's a mile, not Nile. So do you grow up on a Nile River that's named number 7 or something like that? I don't get it. I mean, Motown Mitch, I don't get you, dude. I mean, did you use AI? Maybe the AI tag is in there. You know, can AI grew up? I don't know. But Mitch,
He was floating down the Nile with King Tut.
Come on, Mitch. What is it? I mean, you know, if you grew up in Detroit and moved all over, don't you think that maybe I could have maybe grew up in Chicago? Because wait a minute, I did.
No. Ken's lying in front. He never grew up in Chicago. That's just something he comes up with to try to legitimize him being a Bears fan.
Oh wait, here's his retort. So obviously not too bright. That's a dig at the Bears because the Jags are better than the Jets.
The Jags are better than the Jags.
And you're talking about the Jags that don't have any championships of any kind. Do they even have any Hall of Famers right now?
I think they
Tony
might have.
Baselli, is he in the hall?
Let me
They
see.
have one. So
Fred Taylor should be in the Hall of Fame.
Mitch is smoking.
My
You know what?
opinion.
Mitch has been on 8 Mile. He's smoking the crack he bought on 8 Mile is what it is.
That sounds
Yeah, but
bipolar. The Jags are better
Aren't they
than the
like an
Jags.
expansion
Yeah.
team? How long have they been in existence? I think like not too long.
30
right?
years. Like 30
the
years.
Jags were an expand. You know, it's funny to think of the Jags and the Texans as expansion teams. But yeah, they were expansion teams like, what, 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah, Jags and Panthers were the same year, I think.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, you're right. The Jags do only have one guy in the Hall of Fame.
And I think the Bears Jags head-to-head record's not even close.
Who's in the Hall of Fame for the Jags?
Oh, it's an offensive lineman. Hold on.
Yeah, Tony
Tony
Baselli,
Baselli.
probably.
Yep. That's who it is. It's Baselli.
God,
Yeah,
Bresky knows
but
so
to be
much.
fair-
Bresky
To
knows
be fair,
everything.
Fred Taylor should be in the Hall of Fame too.
Uh-huh.
On Mitch's last horrible, terrible attempt at a slam and an attack, we're going to say, hey, peace out to the morning. Don't forget, JB is next. The noon guys are on at noon. We'll be back here tomorrow. Everyone have a great day. And Mitch, get better attacks, man.
I won't be
Yeah,
back anymore.
shout
so
out-
I'll see
shout
you
out
guys
Nile
next week,
River.
guys.
Oh, yeah. Shout out Nile, the 7 Nile. And shout out to Sarah, who's now going to be a paralegal starting tomorrow. So send her all her legal problems on next. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Thank you, Sarah.